Hello everyone. Today we're doing a video of, it's going to be an introduction and a rules overview and a gameplay video of my prototype Farm to Table. I'm the blue player, Amos, and Emily is the red player. So first I'm going to do an overview of all the components and what we see here, and then I'll explain what they do. So we start with 3 action cards that are in front of us. There are 1, 2, 3, and on the other side is going to be 4, 5, 6. Each card is going to have numbers on it that are equal to 7, kind of like faces of a die. Emily started with the one that has the asterisk on it, so she's going to be the first player. There are a 5x5 grid of cards here that also have the same types of numbers, 2 and 5, 3 and 4, 1 and 6. They also have various recipes on them, meaning certain combinations of cubes that you need to unlock them. It's going to come into play later. But for now, all you need to know is that we've randomly placed cubes on each of the cards that equal to the number that's on the card, but not necessarily equal to the recipe that's on the card. Okay. Here we have a conveyor belt of cards. These are also recipe cards, but they don't have numbers on them. That's because we don't actually acquire them. These are recipes that both of us can complete at any time when we send cubes. And the points that we get are equal to the slot where the card is in. So for example, this takes 6 cubes and it's worth 6 points, but this also takes 6 cubes, but it's only worth 4 points. Whenever you fulfill the recipe on one of these cards, they go to slot 1 and everything else moves forward to fill in any gaps. Here we have the general supply of cubes that were left over that were not placed here on the 5x5 grid. We also have our own player aids. We have 10 meeples of our color. We have 2 personal achievement cards that we looked at. We got a hand of 3 and then we discarded 1. So these are secret that we don't show the other player. And lastly, we have communal achievement cards that both of us will score points for depending on who has the most of something. In this case, this is whoever has the most cards that are face up and show a 1 on them. The most cards that have a 5 showing, and then whoever has the most black cubes at the end of the game. Okay, so how does a turn work? On your turn, you will choose one of the cards that you have in your bottom row. So we have a bottom row of cards that we can use, and then we're going to have a top row of cards that cards go to this top row when we acquire them from the 5x5 grid. So on your turn, you would choose one of your cards that you have in your bottom row, you would flip it, and then the number that was on the card before you flipped it would tell you how many cubes you can take from this grid here, and then also how many cubes you can send if you want to complete one of these recipes. Each of the numbers also has a special ability that goes along with it. So it's basically the 1 will take 1 cube in a specific way, and so on. So I'm going to go over each of the numbers right now. So when you flip a 1, you get to take 1 cube from any card in the center here, and then you flip it over, and then you would be able to flip any other card that you have here in the bottom row. So in this case, a 2 or 3 or any other cards that I would have acquired later on. If I flip a 2, similarly, I can take 1 cube from any card in the center grid here, and then I take 1 cube from the general supply of my choice. If I flip a 3, then I can take 3 cubes from any one card, and they have to all be from the same card. The extra ability of the 3 is that if I end up taking the last cube from a card and I would acquire that card too, I could, before I acquire it, I can exchange its place with any other card in the grid. So for example, if I use the 3 to take these 3 cubes, then before I take it, I could just move that there and take it from here. Why would I do that? Because when you take a card from the grid, you also place one of your meeples there to show that you have control of that spot. So maybe I want to get this spot instead of this spot. Okay, what is the reason that we would be doing that? Well, that comes back to our personal achievement cards. These are the ones that I've drawn, and that means that I want to have my meeples in that specific configuration. And Emily has her own specific achievements that she's drawn. And that's the only way that you will get points for having your meeples in the center grid here. Alright, if you flip a 4, that means you can take 4 cubes in any combination, but they have to be from cards that are orthogonally adjacent to one of your meeples. So again, let's say I had taken the 3 here and I had my meeple here. So if later on I flip a 4, that means I can take 1 cube from here, 1 cube from here, 1 cube from there, and 1 cube from there. Or I could just take 4 cubes from here. Or any basically combination of cubes that equal 4, as long as they're orthogonally adjacent to one of my meeples. So that means not any cards that are diagonal. Alright. So that's 4. 5 is you can take 1 cube from each card in any row or column. So let's say I pick this column, so I would take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cubes. Okay? If I flipped a 6, it would be the same as a 5, 1 cube from each card in a row or column. Then I would get to take 1 extra cube from the general supply here, and then in clockwise order, every other player gets to take 1 cube of their choice from the general supply. Okay, so those are the numbers. So what do you do with cubes when you get them? So let's say I used a 3 and I took these 3 cubes, and then at the end of the turn I get this card. So this card goes in the top row. I can't really do anything with it right now because the recipe hasn't been completed, and so the card's not unlocked. I can't use these cubes to unlock this because these cubes I got first, and then this card came at the end of the game, at the end of the round. But later on, when I get cubes, I could keep them here in my personal supply, or I could place them on this card. And so I get another white here, and then another white here, and now I've unlocked this card, so these 3 cubes would go to my personal victory pile, and then this card is now unlocked, it goes down to my bottom row, and then later turns I can now use it as a 3. Okay? So these were here, I think this was there. Alright. The other thing about your turn is you can have more cubes than the total value of your cards in your bottom row allow you to have. So that's kind of a threshold. So let's say, for example, I would have flipped at 3, right? And I took these cubes, and then now I have this card here. This card does not count towards your value, but I do have these cubes. So I don't have to do this, but this helps in seeing how many cubes I have equal to the numbers I have on my bottom row. So here I have 3 cubes, but I have a total value of 7, so I could hold 4 more cubes. But then later on, if I flip this again, now I'll have 5 more cubes that I can hold. Okay, but then if I got 6 cubes here and then I would flip this again, then my threshold would go down by 5. So that's something that I have to watch out for. And that checks at the end of the turn, so you're able to send cubes to complete these achievements before you have to discard them to the general supply if you go over the number. Okay, on the cards in the 5x5 grid, it tells you the number that's on face up. On the corners, it tells you what number is on the other side. It also tells you what recipe it has when you acquire it, what recipe it needs to unlock it to your bottom row. And then at the very top, it has the recipe that's on the other side. So that could help with planning if you want if you have specific cubes that will go with that recipe and so on. Lastly, we have these achievements here. So these are just going to be checked at the end of the game, and whoever has the most of whatever that's asking for will get those extra points. And then the cubes that we get, we put them aside in our victory piles, and then it'll be 1 point per cube that we have there, in addition to whatever points these get. The game end is triggered when any one player has 5 extra cards in their bottom row. So that would be a total of 8, because we both start with 3. And then whoever has that has triggered the end game. And then we make sure we play an even number of turns. So in case Emily triggers the end game, then I would get 1 more turn. Or if I trigger the end game, then there will be no extra turns. Any cubes that we have left over in our supply that are not banked in the victory pile, we can at the end of the game, we can use them to complete any incomplete recipe cards that are in the top row, and then score those cubes, or maybe send those cubes to complete one of these communal achievements if we want to. Anything else left over that we can't use to complete anything, those cubes won't be worth points, but they'll still be counted in terms of whoever has the most, let's say black cubes in this case, or if a different achievement came that required other colored cubes. Last thing to note is these communal recipe cards. So normally if you would complete this one, you can just bank those 3 whites and 3 reds because you got 6 points. But if you would have spent, let's say, 3 blues and 3 reds to get these 2 points, you would choose 2 of the cubes to bank, and then the other 4 would go into the general supply, and that's how you would make sure you got the appropriate amount of points for completing those. I think that's it. I covered everything, right? Okay, so that's the component overview and the rules overview. Emily got the asterisk on her 1 card, so that means she goes first. Any questions on anything?
Not yet.
Okay. Take it away.
I'm going to first look at my cards, make sure I know what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to flip the 3.
Okay.
And I'm going to take these 3 cubes.
Do you want to move that card anywhere or leave it?
I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
And I put it in the top row.
Yep. And your meeple goes in that section.
And an important point is that I can't use this blue.
Yeah, because you got the card at the end of your turn.
Okay. And my meeple goes here.
All right. I'll take a look at my cards too. Okay. I'm gonna flip this 1 to take this cube, and then I'm going to flip another card. Oh, this is supposed to be a 3. I'll flip this 3 to take these 3 cubes, and then I would put my meeple there. This goes above here, and that's my turn.
Okay. I'm going to flip my 4. And I'm going to take these 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to complete this card.
Okay.
So then these go into my victory pile. And I'm going to
You also get one more cube.
Yes, I get one more cube. I'm going to take a white, and then I get to move the 3 if I want to. No, because I took a 4. So I have to take this.
Mm-hmm.
And put it up here, and it's going to be full.
Okay. Alright. I'm gonna flip my 6. So I will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That completes that. These are banked. That goes down there. I get one more cube from here. It's going to be a red. And then you get a cube.
I will take a black cube.
Okay, it's your turn.
Alright, and I'm going to flip my 2. Now I have to take 1 from a card
And one from the supply.
and 1 from the supply. So I'm going to take this blue, and I'm going to take 1 black from the supply.
Okay. Alright. I am going to flip this 3 and take these 2 cubes and this card. Okay, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip the 1, and I'm going to take this 1, this card, and put it up here, and put my needle there.
You get one more flip.
Oh. I'm going to flip the 5. So I'm going to take 1 from a row, 1 from each in a row. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to actually take them as I go because
Okay.
it's easier for me.
All
So
right.
1, 2, 3. That's confusing. I took a black, but I didn't want to. Where did I take it from?
That's why I can put them to the side so we can return things if we need to.
I think it came from here.
Okay.
Well, you know what? For the sake of it, that's what I took. So I took 3. Now I
Yeah.
take 2 more. So we'll take a blue and a white.
Okay. So that completes the 2. Okay. And that's it. All right. I'm gonna flip my 2. I'll take this black. And I'll take another is your turn.
Okay. I'm going to flip my 2. And I'm going to take a white from here and a red from the supply. Thank you.
And that completes.
And this completes, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna flip my 1 to take this cube. And then I get to flip another card. It's going to be this 4. I'm going to take these 3 cubes, which will go there, and there, and there. And I get to take 1 more cube. It's going to be this white here. So this card goes there, this completes, and that goes down there. It's your turn.
Okay. I'm going to flip the 6. And I'm going to place 6. Well, first I'm going to collect 6. So I'm going to do 1. Oh, I can't. Can I do that even?
Yeah, you just miss out on this card.
Okay. That's okay. Maybe I will do this way then. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I will
You can flip to 6, so you get 1.
I take 1 from there. So I'm gonna take a blue.
And I get to take 1, and I will also take a blue.
I'm also going to
Like
collect a card
six.
from the conveyor belt.
So if you flip to 6, you can now send 6.
So I've got 3 red or orange
Yeah.
and
3 white.
3 white.
So you just put them in your victory pile, and then this cycles down. Okay. I think I should get some points too. Points are good. Okay, I'm going to flip my 6. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These whites will go here. These blacks will go here. And then I take 1 extra white will be here. So you get to take, well, you get to take 1 cube, and then I'm going to send 6 cubes.
Okay. I'll take an orange or a red.
Okay. So now I'm going to send 3 blacks and 3 blues to complete that. So that goes in my victory pile. And my 3 here has completed. So now I now have 8 cards. So now that triggers the end game. So that is it. If you have any recipes that you want to fulfill at the end, you can still do that. In turn order, so I guess I would go first. I don't have, let's see, I don't have 3 reds or 3 blacks. I have 2 reds and 2 whites. No, I don't know if I can complete anything here. Okay, do you have anything that you can complete?
I could get, let's see. I could get this 1 point.
3 blues and 3 blacks.
So then in
Okay.
that case, I would only put one of these in
Yeah.
my victory pile, and
Yeah.
these would go
Yep.
discard.
Okay, so now we count up, first we count up points that we have in our victory pile. So just count up the number of cubes. It's 5, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18.
So I have 15.
Okay.
I did not get to fulfill any of my cards, unfortunately.
Okay. I could not fulfill this one because I needed 1 more meeple, but I did fulfill this one, which is this, yeah, 2 there and 1 there, so that's 8 points. What did I say? I had 15, right? So that's 23, and
No, and I have to add these up.
what do you mean?
I didn't add these to my score.
They're
These
not
are
worth
just-
points,
Aha, I forgot that part.
but they are. We do check for who has the most 5s up.
Okay.
And that would be a tie between us. So friendly ties, I guess we both get 3 points each. So I'm at 26. And you get 3 extra points.
I'm at 18.
Okay. And then whoever has the most 1s, same thing, will be extra 3 points for both of us. So I'd be at 29.
I'll be at 21.
No, 28, and then that's 31. And then whoever has the most black cubes. So I've got,
You definitely have
7.
those.
okay, so that means 36 points for me.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, in the introduction, is the theme of this game. We are playing as restaurant managers, and we are trying to get vegetables or fruits from the ground and in our supply, and then the cards that we have are maybe farmers or different employees like chefs, waiters, so on, and then we're trying to turn those cubes into delicious dishes that people want to eat, and that, you know, kind of how things go in vogue and out of vogue, that will cycle through. Once they've had enough of this one, then the next one comes up, and that's why it's called Farm to Table.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
I hope you enjoy.